So a new study is revealing that certain degrees like psychology, criminal justice, and social work are not offering the lucrative jobs that people are looking for. When I was in college, I remember one of the most popular degrees that most of the girls, for whatever reason, at my private school, this is just my experience, psychology. That was like number one degree because they wanted to work with children, they wanted to help people. And that was the number one. I don't know if it was like that for you.
Yeah, especially because we went to Vanguard, and Vanguard was pretty much a majority girls school. So every time we had classes, because I had electives, I think I took one class, it was always packed. And it was mostly girls. It was just like 2 or 3 guys. But does it say why? Is it because they're not getting paid enough?
Yeah. It talks about it says it's too popular. It's like oversaturated. That's how I was sharing my story about like a lot of people are chasing psychology.
Too many people are doing
these degrees, and they're very competitive. A lot of the jobs, like for example, when you apply to become a psychologist, you want to become a psychologist at a school, and they pay really good. The school schedule is amazing, but it's very competitive, and it's so popular. Like everyone, like you go to a school, and what are you studying? A lot of people are going to say psychology, for example.
Yeah, and I think that like for me, when I went first to college, I didn't really pay attention. I just kind of like, I want to do this, but I never really took time to see, is this truly what I want to do? Or is it even a job that's in demand? Because a lot of people do that. They take a degree either because it's easy. That could be the reason too. They take it because it's easy. And then they find out, shoot, there's like 20 people lined up for this one job that's only available in my city, So yeah, it's super important. Pay attention, It's like we were talking about in the previous episodes about ask ChatGPT. If you didn't listen to that, go watch it. Ask it, what are the highest demanding jobs in my area, Or if you already have a degree or like in the process of getting it, ask it, is this job in high demand? And if so, where exactly, and it'll help guide you, because that's for me where I struggled. I graduated and then I was like, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah. I think you should look to getting less mainstream degrees the degrees that everyone talks about, right? And look at the more unpopular ones, because maybe those are the ones that are going to become the mainstream in the future. And with psychology or all these other degrees, a lot of times, since it's very competitive, then you have to go get a master's, sometimes even get a PhD or a doctorate or whatever you want to call it, and it ends up being a negative return on your investment because you're investing all this money into your college degree into becoming a psychologist. And I mean, they pay decent, but they're not paying extremely high compared to some of these other degrees that we're seeing in the market now. Like some of the ones that the article was talking about was petroleum engineering. Obviously, you got the computer science, the finance. They tend to earn a better earning potential than some of these degrees. But I'm not saying do those degrees, but do your research. More than anything, do your research and make sure that you're gonna make some money off. Because I know a lot of people talk about chase your passion, which is very important. You gotta love what you do. You can't hate it. But you also got to pay the bills. So there needs to be a balance. It needs to be something that you love and you enjoy to do, but also it's going to pay your bills, especially like us. We're in California. And if you're going to start off and your average income throughout your life is only going to be $50K, you're never buying a house.
Yeah. Not here. You probably have to go way out there in California in the high desert or somewhere far, But yeah, like, one thing that I also wish I knew when I went to college is finding something that's also not just like a general, like medicine or whatever, but something specific, kind of like your fiance, Vanessa. She's doing something that's very specific that's also in high demand. And if I can go back in college, I would find something that's specific instead of just like a general degree, because that's going to help you find a job that's more in demand and also not that saturated with a lot of people. Yeah,
and my fiance started off in psychology.
Yeah.
And she graduated.
Did you change her?
No. She already, before even talking, I remember I laughed when I met her and she told me psychology. I was like, of course, every girl's in psychology. Yeah. But she ended up specializing in speech language to become a speech language pathologist, which is not oversaturated. And her being Hispanic, there's not a lot of bilingual. Like it's like in the single digits of speech language pathologists. So that's just an example of a career, like you said, specialized. Like if you're studying business, I went and I got a business administration degree. I highly don't get that. I highly recommend you specialize in something like what in business? Is it finance? Is it investment banking, economics, something more specific? Don't do just a general. It's very specific. It's going to make you look more sexier on your resume.
Yeah. And also that you you're taking the extra steps to figure out what you want to do after college. You know, it's not just about passing the classes, getting the best grades, but it's also like, what are you going to do after, which no one really talks about. It's just go to college, get the best grades, enjoy it, but then what's after that?
Yeah, yeah. And with college being so expensive, I mean, look at your alternatives. There's various career paths that might not even require a college degree. I know right now what's going on with the student loan forgiveness, people not paying, which is a whole other topic, right? That we can talk, that people got used to not paying $400 or $500 a month. Yeah. Because for the last 3 years we haven't.
And
been
that's
paying.
the average. There's people that have a higher than that.
$1,000, $1,500 a month. Yeah, and even if they were to pass, the $20,000, $10,000, student loan forgiveness, a lot of people still would have a lot of debt.
Yeah, especially with some with high. For some who that's literally all they have, and they pass that, that's going to be a blessing. But again, who knows? We've been talking about this for over a year, hoping, they say it's in court. It's the Supreme Court. They're trying to check it out to see whether or not it passes. And if it does, it'll be amazing. But yeah, like even for me in film, you used to have to go. I feel like to go to college, you had to go to a good college because equipment was expensive. The software was expensive. Everything that comes to being a filmmaker is not like you could pick up those crazy cameras that they shoot back in the days, and they still do sometimes. But now, you don't really need that crazy gear. You don't need that crazy computer. You can do it from, people edit from TikTok, people edit from Instagram. So in my degree, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that are thinking whether or not to go to college because they could just learn it off online. And there's a lot of good courses that charge $1,000 or a little more than that, but they give you like a whole year program that teaches you exactly what you need to do. So yeah, there are alternatives. And actually, it's like what we always say, these kind of like handy jobs that are in high demand, because people from our generation don't know how to do none of that. Like, so that means that the demand's only going to go higher.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And basically from what you said, what I get from it is college is not everything. It's not enough. College is not enough because I know personally a lot of people that even if you do a degree that's maybe not in high that is in high demand, that is not the oversaturated, super popular ones like psychology. But let's say you do computer science. I personally know so many people that all they did was college and they're struggling to find a job because it's not just college. College is great. You learn stuff and all that. Great, especially if you don't get in debt. Amazing. Yeah. But if you don't have experience while you're in college, getting internships, getting work experience, you're not going to get a job, especially in this economy where, especially in the tech, where it is a great field to work in, but if you don't have
ask for like 5 years of experience.
You need that experience.
It's like I've been in college for 4 years or 5 years. Where am I supposed to get that experience? So yeah, internships. That's one thing I wish I did more. Internships.
Yeah, internships in college, education, your bachelor's degree, whatever it is, it's going to really make you stand out because there's a lot of people that cannot find jobs. I personally know because they don't have any experience. And then they have to essentially waste 2 or 3 years after college getting a job that maybe doesn't align with the career to gain that experience.
And what's beautiful, like for me, I did a little bit of an internship when I was in college because I first was science and biology because I thought I wanted to be somewhere. I didn't really know exactly what. And I did this little it was like a middle school, I think, across the street from the college, and we used to go and teach a class. And that's when I found out I didn't really like what I was doing. So I was grateful that I did that little small internship with that school because I discovered like, yeah, this is not really what I wanted to do. And then when I did another internship with the degree that I was doing, I was like, whoa, this is exactly where I want to be. So yeah, internships really help even like figure out if this is truly what you want to do.
Yeah. Internships are amazing. That's one thing when, as our nonprofit, when we do workshops and we talk to younger people, we always tell them, do internships, do it in the summer. Sometimes they're paid, sometimes they're not. If they're paid, amazing. It's a great way to secure a job almost because sometimes most of those internships after you graduate, they're like, hey, you want to come work for us full time now? And I've seen so many people do that. And I had that happen to me somewhat when I did an internship. I was offered not necessarily a full-time job because I was already working, but on top of working, I was offered a side gig doing marketing for this this nonprofit. So I was making my full-time income plus this for like 6 months or so. So it was cool. It was cool to be able to have on the side a little side gig. It was really cool. But yeah, I think the most important thing from this is that don't do what everyone's doing. Don't do what's popular. Sometimes it's good to be different. Sometimes it's good to do your research. It's always good to do your research, find out what degree is best for you, what's going to return a better return on your investment, stuff that aligns with your skills, your values, who you want to become as a person in the future, your career, and just make sure that it's going to make you money in the specific place where you're at. If you're making 50K and you're in a state where 50K is enough to buy a house, then that's great. But if you're in California, 50K is it's almost like minimum wage now. There's places that are paying over $20 an hour, $22, $23 an hour, fast food.
No degree,
no experience, nothing. I don't even think you need a high school diploma. And that's almost coming out to, if you work, 40 hours a week, it's close to 50K a year.
Yeah.
So,
and for those who don't know, what is the return on your investment when you say that?
a return on investment, let's say you invested $1,000 into your college education, and then as soon as you graduate, you get a job making $2,000. Well, you just doubled your money, right? You have put 1,000, and now you're getting a job that's getting you 2,000. Obviously, college is way more. Hopefully you make way more than that. But that's the most basic explanation. A lot of times, a lot of people, a lot of these degrees we're seeing that honestly are useless. A lot of degrees that are useless, that you get the degree, spend 100,000 in your college education, 25,000 a year, and then you end up getting a job making 50,000 a year. You're already negative. You have a negative return on your investment. So it's important that you're positive. Break even, great, but the most important thing is that you're positive. That's the most important thing. And let us know here in the comments section below, what degree did you study? What do you plan to study? What career path you want to take? Have you researched it? Do you know what type of salary, what type of career path you can take with that major? And let us know, what is your opinion? Do you think college is worth it? Should you go to college? Do you think college is enough? Do you need experience? What do you think? Down below in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends and family.